When we started going on tour, this was probably the next big demonic thing that started happening to us. But when we started going on tour, we met quite a few demon-possessed people. And you don't just look at somebody and think, oh yeah, that person's demon-possessed. But when you spend enough time around those people, and those people tend to gravitate towards the church, towards other Christians, towards places of where the gospel is preached, they know things they shouldn't know. They talk about things that are a little off. And in all of these cases, we had several people that we actually met several people that were demon possessed, and each case very similar to each other in the sense that obviously demons have patterns, common denominators, but they fear death, but they hate God. They're afraid of hell, but they curse God. And a lot of them are involved in witchcraft. They acted animalistic a lot of the time, not very normal human-wise in that sense, but they hated God and would curse God. They hated the Bible and would taunt and mock the Bible. They would taunt and mock us being Christians. They tried to be really distracting during times where the gospel was being preached, where Christ was being preached, where the Bible was being talked about. They would try to be super distracting. So the things that actually started to make us realize that these people were possessed was they, you know, that whole thing in horror movies where they say like, or they show that people being possessed all of a sudden have their eyes get dilated, they're just black eyes, or they start to speak in deep voices that are not their own, deep, distorted voices where they're like, they're like a child with a man's voice, that kind of thing, or a female with a man's voice. So that started happening in each of the cases and scenarios where we met demonically possessed people. We had this happen where they would we would just be asking them questions about themselves, and they would just say, yeah, I'm possessed by this demon, this is their name, this is this many demons, and this is their names. And all of a sudden their eyes would just whoop, and their voices would change. And we're like, okay, we don't know. At the time, we didn't know how to deal with that. And so we were just like, okay, cool, peace. I'll talk to you later about this. So another commonality, a cue that we got to knowing that somebody was possessed by a demon, they were obsessed with this one verse in the Bible, and they would just write it all over their body, all over their room. And it's Psalm 88:8. It's called the Dark Psalm for a reason. It says, Thou hast removed my acquaintances far from me. Thou hast made me an object of loathing to them. I am shut up and cannot go out. Don't know why demons like that verse, but they do. And one of the cases that we had with somebody that was possessed by a demon, they were obsessed with that verse. And when we asked them about it, they repeated over and over, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, don't touch it, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. And their eyes went whoop, black. So again, we were like, peace, talk to you later. But in one of the cases, we not prepared for exorcisms. We didn't know what we were doing at the time, but one of the people that we knew that was demon possessed, they were talking to us and they were threatening to kill themselves and to kill all of us too. And somebody got really smart, and they asked that person, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, who's talking. And that person stood up straight, all of a sudden became like a puppet, and started speaking in third person. Their eyes glazed over, and they were saying, well, this demon, I am blah, 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 this demon, and I'm here to take over this person. You can't save them. God can't save them. They're gone. And so it was on at that point. We said, well, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, you gotta go, buddy. And that person all of a sudden convulsed into like fetus form on the ground. They just like started convulsing and shaking and screaming like they were being killed or something. And so we didn't know what we were doing. We picked up that person. We're like, let's take this inside because we don't want to be outside, and the neighbors called the cops on us. We actually called some pastors at that point. We were like, hey, we need you here now. We need help. And because we didn't know what we were doing. And so we spent the next 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours, praying over that person, singing hymns over that person. And the person at the time, like I said, was no longer that person. They were speaking as a demon. They were saying things in third person, and yelling out to us, "You can't save them. Nobody can save them." And then switching back and forth to the actual person who would cry out, "God save me, parents save me, family save me, friends save me." They were also, when they were talking as a demon, when the demon was talking through them, the demon was calling out on our sins, our hidden sins, or things that we had confessed, but were fighting personally. And so they knew about sins that we hadn't talked about in this family, and just kept like picking a different person and just, condemning for sin. And so this took place for 3 hours, kept changing back and forth between demon and real person. We ended up getting smart and realizing that some of the things they were wearing were things that they attached to sin, and were symbols of sin. And we would take off, they had like rings and necklaces and things like that they were very attached to. So we would take off a ring and they would just scream bloody murder, like it was the end of the world. And apparently those things were, again, attached to some sin or something, some occult thing that they had done. And after about 3 hours of this, speaking over them, praying over them, reading the Bible over them, singing hymns over them, finally, I forgot about this. So before any of this even took place, and